So, you think you're untouchable?
Word life. This is basic thugonomics. This is basic thugonomics. Word life. I'm untouchable, but I'm forcing you to feel me. Word life. This is basic thugonomics. Word life. I'm untouchable, but I'm forcing you to feel me. Whether fighting or spitting, my discipline is unforgiving. Got you backing up in a defensive position. An ass-kicking anthem, heavyweight or bantam, holding camps for ransom. The microphone phantom, teams hit the floor, it's the new fight joint. Like a broken needle, kid, you missing the point. We dominate your conference with offense that's no nonsense. My theme song hits, get your reinforcements. We strike quick with hard kicks, ducking ice sticks, bare knuckle men through fight pits. Beat you lifeless, never survive this. Get forgot like all timers. Two-faced rappers walk away with four shiners. The raw rhymer, turning legends to old timers. My incisors like a viper biting through your one-liners. New Dead Man Inc., and we about to make you famous. Taking over Earth and still kicking in Uranus. Word life. This is basic thugonomics. This is basic thugonomics. Word life. I'm untouchable, but I'm forcing you to feel me. Word life. This is basic thugonomics. Word life. I'm untouchable, but I'm forcing you to feel me. You ain't advancing up the process, potential for medical concepts or objects are foreign, like block tests, fonts and text are complex, regardless of your finesse or your business. It's the condition of business, your lame vision of an underground physical image underneath to undermine your whole typical image with the precision of percentages and the collision of sentences. Poetry, beats and mics, we untouchable like righteous sluts with no crevices. Streets unite, we rock brighter with dumber beats. Your cats couldn't come this hot and urged off in the summer heat. Forget 2 takes, kill your birds the first time. Your best ain't worthy of my filler or worse rhymes. I'm better than nice. Check the veteran stripes, leave you beside yourself with fear. I'll kill you, bury you twice, despite the cover of night. Tracking your flight like guerrilla warfare, where the grass is dense. Approaching me's a quick way to get referred to in the past tense. Dead that. When the light, the mic is on, the crowd is dead like an intermission when you on a tight Word life. This is basic thugonomics. This is basic thugonomics. Word life. I'm untouchable, but I'm forcing you to feel me. Word life. This is basic thugonomics. Word life. I'm untouchable, but I'm forcing you to feel me.
Break 'em.
Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kinda odd. No barking from the dog, no small. And mama cooked the breakfast with no hog. I got my grub on, but didn't dig out. Finally got a call from a girl I wanna dig out. Hooked it up for later as I hit the dope. Thinking, will I live another 24? I gotta go, cause I got me a drop top. And if I hit the switch, I can make the ass drop. Had to stop at a red light, looking in my mirror, not a jacker in sight. And everything is alright. I got a beat from Kim, and she can fuck all night. Called up the homies and I'm asking y'all, which part are y'all playing basketball? Get me on the court and I'm troubled. Last week fucked around and got a triple-double. Freaking niggas every way like MJ. I can't believe today was a good day. To the pad and hit the showers. Didn't even get no static from the the cowards. Cause just yesterday, them bulls tried to blast me. Saw the police and they rolled right past me. No flexing, didn't even look in a nigga's direction as I ran the intersection. Went to Show Dog's house, they was watching yo on TV raps. What's the haps on the craps? Shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em. Roll 'em in a circle of niggas and watch me break 'em with the 7-11, 7-11, 7 even back door Little Joe. I picked up the cash flow. Then we played those, and I'm yelling domino. Plus nobody I know got killed in South Central LA. Today was a good day. Left my nigga.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The return in 2026. This is the Sports Cave. You know, it's been a while since I've used this thing, and I went to go with our typical opener, and I had the wrong thing set up here. Let's see if I can fix it this time. Let's see if we get the opener going through the right time. Come on. And the freaking Stream Deck didn't want to work. Welcome, folks. It's me. I'm solo, as we all know. I just want to get into this whole thing on part of the reason why we took the break. I took the break.
We just want to take this moment to salute you, the greatest fans in the world.
Shout out to Pops. That is my number one fan when it comes to the show. Shout out, Pops. Thank you for the sub. It's our first day back. Daniel, welcome. Hope all is good, buddy. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody that's listening. Part of the reason that I end up taking the break after Zach announced that he can't do the show anymore, he can't make that same commitment that he once could. It was like I started to fall out of it, guys. The thing that I once loved to do, I just started falling out. I didn't have the dedication and the time necessarily. The time is still a problem in terms of getting ready to do these shows, but I'm going to try to do a better job with the schedule that I have. It was just something that I didn't honestly look forward to doing. Like when I was doing this, when I first started doing this didn't feel like a job. This felt like an exciting hobby, something that, I could just sit here and BS and talk about sports. And a lot of people always ask my sports opinions. And we always have friendly debates, and it's not just like, it just seemed like it became a job. It didn't feel like something I had fun doing, and I had to take a break. And the couple months I took off, it was a good thing. It was a good thing I took the couple months off to just focus on life, focus on my job that I'm currently working at, obviously, for the same time period. Focus on just myself. So when I had a lot of people asking me, when are you going to start the show back up? Dude, you got to start the show back up. When is it happening? Like, it actually brought a little bit of fire back into doing this again. So for all those people that have reached out and have asked me and got on my ass to go back and do this, thank you. It's gonna be a little dicey today. Once again, I have a tough schedule with my job, whereas I used to be able in previous jobs to just write down notes on my breaks. I don't get that many breaks anymore. I get a lunch break. So would I say I'm fully prepared for today's show? I'd be lying to you if I said yes. But what I'm going to do is my absolute best, and I'm going to have a fun time. I'm going to miss doing a show with Zach. I hope to get him on before the Winter Olympics so we could break down the hockey teams, Team USA, Team Canada, amongst other teams. And USA has a great roster. I'm going to get into a little bit of hockey today. Just basically go over, basically my Leafs and one of the best teams in hockey, what pace they're going at right now. We're going to go through the NFL. Regular season's officially over. I'm back just in time for playoffs. What a great time to get back. I was going to save this for towards the end of the show, but it's been confirmed with ESPN Shams Charania, so I feel like I have to hit the button here.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening.
Give me what I want.
I will give you what you want. That is the breaking news, and the breaking news is coming in that it is confirmed after the rumors were swirling around about an hour or so. Atlanta Hawks Trae Young and his agents, Aaron Mintz, Drew Morrison, and Austin Brown are working with the franchise on a trade, sources tell ESPN. Young's reps and the Hawks have started collaborative talks over the last week on finding a resolution, and ultimately it came at the expense of requesting a trade. Marcus, welcome, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you, my man. Let's be honest here. The COVID year when the Knicks lost to the Hawks and the Hawks made to, I think it was that year they made to the Eastern Conference Finals. They were banking on the dynamic duo between Trae Young and John Collins. And unfortunately, John Collins was nowhere near the same player that year beyond. They went a different direction this offseason. They brought in Kristaps Porzingis in. Part of the reason that the Celtics were comfortable moving on Porzingis was an illness that he was dealing with. He played to start the season, and he's been out for an extended amount of time with whatever this drastic illness is. Like, it could be a life-altering illness that he's dealing with. A lot of details still aren't fully out there. Trae Young is an offensive guru. He is one of the best offensive point guards in the league, one of the best offensive guards in the league. You know you're not going to get a lot of him defensively, but there will be a lot of teams interested. And there might be teams that aren't even contenders that will be interested in someone with the offensive capabilities of Trae Young. In terms of teams that are in postseason contention, as we currently state, I think there's one team that immediately, just right off the rip, I was like, I think this would be the best fit for him in terms of trying to make a run for a championship. And this team has made 2 runs for the championship since 2020 without a legitimate superstar. One of them was like playing like a superstar come playoff time, but the assets around him just were never enough. But if Tyler Hero is going to take that next step, if they could keep him, if they could keep Bam Adebayo, if they keep Andrew Wiggins, and I'll mention Andrew Wiggins because part of the reason the Warriors won their championship was his phenomenal playoff play. So obviously I'm indicating the Miami Heat. I think the best fit for Trae Young would be the Miami Heat, and I think it can give them that one last chance while they can, before Jason Tatum comes back at full strength, before Tyrese Halliburton comes back at full strength, and the Celtics and the Pacers are full-on contenders again. Although the Celtics are in 3rd place right now in the Eastern Conference, I still don't know if they are as legit as they would be if they have Jason Tatum. But if the Miami Heat can bring in Trae Young without giving up Hero, Wiggins, or Adebayo, I think that's the best fit for Trae Young if he is to get traded. You know, I know it's going to be recency bias, but like with the amount of picks that the Nets have, it wouldn't.
You the real MVP.
Good look, Dan. Welcome, bro. Welcome to the stream, and thank you. And I agree with you. I think it's long overdue. This rebuild has been long overdue. I think they've been through 3 different coaches now, maybe even 4 during Trae Young's time in Atlanta. This rebuild just needs to happen. The roster construction is terrible. Quinn Snyder just doesn't get the best out of his guys. It's been long overdue, and it's just a matter of when it's going to happen. The deadline for the NBA for trades, little Google research here. The trade deadline will be, it's a month away, folks. Today is January 5th of 2026, almost to 2025 there. The deadline is February 5th, 2026 at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So other names that we've heard bouncing around in terms of trades, we heard Giannis's name. I don't think that's going to come. I think if Giannis is going to get traded, it's going to get traded in the offseason. I don't see him getting traded before the trade deadline. Anthony Davis, I think that will definitely happen. Some team is going to go out there and trade off for Anthony Davis. And man, the Mavs really fucked everything up. And this is the last time I've been on the show. I mean, I didn't even get to talk about Nico Harrison getting fired. I mean, who saw that coming? You trade your fucking franchise player who's balling out there in LA, who's in the best shape arguably in his life, although he started to get a little fat again. He went to the season in the best shape. We'll see. I mean, fat Luka, skinny Luka, he's still a top 5 player in the NBA, if not top 3, if not top 1 at some points in the season. I mean, he is a fucking problem. All right, Adobe Creative Cloud. I get there's a fucking problem. I haven't loaded this laptop in 3 fucking months. Get off my dick. Part of the other thing, too, folks, outside of that rant right there, because it keeps talking about apps failed. You're a fucking fail. Anyways. So I'm going to do my best to not go ape shit on the show like I always do. We're going to see what happens. Trae Young to Minnesota, Steve predicts. Does that put him over, though? And you know, and if I was Minnesota, Steve, you know, everyone knows they're not going to get Edwards. We all know this. If I was Minnesota, the untouchables would be Ant and Naz Reid. You want Gobert, you can have him. You want Julius Randle in the package, you can have him. Naz Reid should be untouchable. I think Naz Reid is so underrated because he has to sit behind Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle. Zach, folks, I am not loading up that comment, but the old co-host is in the comment threads here, and he was talking about what he's going to really devour in 2026. A lot of guys. A lot of them. Welcome, brother. All right. Let's go into the NFL really quick, folks. This is the sport that I've been antsy to talk about. Oh, where's Zach when I need him? Super. Everybody better have a beer. Everybody better have a beer for today's show. We're going into the new year. We're going into the first solo episode in a very, very long time of the Sports Cave. Everybody should have a fucking beer. I don't care if it's Monday. Have a beer. I'm not even supposed to be drinking a beer today, but I'm doing it for you motherfuckers. Have a beer. All right, into the NFL we go. Well, it's honestly a good time for me to come back because why not come back right before playoffs start? Let's do our final recap of the 2025-2026.
You the real MVP.
Ty, good looks, bro. Appreciate you. I do have a disease. I do. It runs in the family, Ty. It runs in the family. Anybody watch any of Saturday's games? Because I could tell you one thing. I fell asleep through the entire Bucks-Panthers game. Like, I was in and out of it, but, like, that game sucked. And at least they have an excuse. The conditions were so sloppy. Fucking pissing rain throughout the entire game, all the way to, I think, about, like, the fourth quarter. And the win was a high factor. A lot of, like, sloppy football play, but in the end, overall, the Bucks and the referees ended up winning that game 16-14. I mean, some of the officiating calls in the Carolina Panthers, like, if I was here when the Patriots played the Ravens and how many missed calls there were, even though the Patriots still came out with the victory, you guys can imagine how much I'd be raging on the microphone. I wouldn't blame a single Carolina Panther fan if they, I mean, is Vegas not involved? Is the NFL not involved? They did everything that they possibly could to keep Carolina out of the playoffs to let Tampa go win. But it didn't work, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. An absolute failure of a season. Absolute failure of a season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's absolutely inexcusable what happened. No reason whatsoever. What we saw from Tampa Bay this year is one of two of the biggest collapses that we've ever seen in NFL history. One of two. Now I'm going to freeze here just in case you guys can still hear me. I can't see you because my laptop is currently shitting the bed right now. What a great start to the Sports Cave. Son of a bitch. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Jesus, I hope everybody heard what I was saying there. I'm going to retract what I said. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. And at least the weather conditions had a full-on excuse. And at the end of the day, it was the Carolina Panthers versus both the Buccaneers and the referees. Terrible officiating. The backwards pass it was a backwards pass that they called out of bounds when Helen Keller even saw that the wide receiver was, before even the hashes began, he was inbounds. The offensive pass interference called on McMillan was terrible. I mean, I was telling a group of friends, when you look at the NBA, when you look at soccer, when you look at hockey, when you look at what MLB is about to do, the officiating is getting harder and harder every single year. Every single year, because the NFL makes rules more complicated than they already are. So that's where I give them a little bit of slack. I get it. When you can't go high in the quarterback anymore, you can't land your body weight in the quarterback, and you can't do this to the offensive player, and the defensive player can't go high. They got to go. Like, it's hard. It's hard. I get it. But in this case, with the backwards pass out of bounds, that was fucking terrible. The McMillan offensive pass interference call was god-awful. At the end of the day, Tampa got what they deserved. They didn't deserve to make the playoffs. They were not as good as we all thought they were going to be. And maybe the absence of Mike Evans for multiple weeks had a big factor for the reason as to why they didn't make the playoffs. They were not good overall as a team this year. Jesus Christ, Ryan. Oh my fucking God, dude. Why? Don't start this, dude. I appreciate it, brother, but save that money, dude. I appreciate you, bro. Miguel, what is up, my guy? You know what's funny, Mig? It was I was thinking about you 2 days ago, and I was looking at the Nets tickets, and I think we need to go to a game, brother. I think we need to go to a game. So I'm going to hit you up after the show, and we could talk that shit out. Ryan, thank you so much, bro. Wow. Rachaad White basically confirmed that he's going to be leaving Tampa Bay. If that means anything, we'll see. I haven't seen or heard anything about retaining Todd Bowles, but I imagine so that they are going to, and I think it's an absolute mistake. Todd Bowles, great coordinator, terrible head coach. The Saturday night game was not even any better. That game was fucking terrible to watch too. The Seahawks and the 49ers, you were thinking maybe that was going to be a great game. Both teams are going to score. It ended up being a 13-3 final score. Excuse me. Sam Darnold did enough moves to win the game. Kenneth Walker was good on the ground, but on the 49ers side, McCaffrey couldn't get going. Brock Purdy couldn't get anything going. And hopefully Brock Purdy's okay because he took a really bad hit towards the end of the game. You definitely don't want to go into the playoffs without Brock Purdy, the guy who you just paid over $50 million per year for. Time will tell. Hopefully he's going to be okay. But that sucks too because now Seattle gets the bye and home field advantage. It is in San Fran's arms to take home field advantage all the way potentially to the Super Bowl where it is going to be held at their stadium. That is a tough loss for the 49ers. Folks, just in case you haven't seen the stat, and someone could correct me if I think of it wrong because I didn't keep a picture or write it down or anything. But if I am not mistaken, after that loss now for San Francisco, since Kyle Shanahan has been the head coach for the 49ers, and I think it was 2017 or 18 that started that year. So we're talking 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it is. The Niners, when they are trailing by more than 7 points entering the fourth quarter, are 1-38, I think. So basically what I'm trying to tell folks is if you're just trying to make quick money, if you place $100, but you're not going to get $100 back in the bet, might be worth it to take the team that they're facing off against. Stop it. Save your money, folks. I don't need everybody's money. You already subscribed, Dad. You don't got to send bits. Thank you, but save your money, people. Save your money. It's the first show back. Let me get back into rhythm before I try staking everybody's money again. All right. Take it easy. I appreciate it, though. Thank you very much. God, you guys make me smile, man. You make me smile. I knew I waited a little too long to come back. I'm glad I'm back. Thank you, guys. That game was absolutely terrible. I have questions about the Seahawks because Darnold hasn't looked the best the last few weeks. You son of a bitch, Ryan. I swear to God, you son of a bitch. Stop it. Stop it. I don't have any good drops to use here. Maybe I do. Let's go into the Sunday games, folks. So obviously when I'm talking about the Panthers, how they advanced, it came down to the Saints-Falcons. Saints win, the Buccaneers advance, Falcons win, the Panthers advance, and the Falcons win by a final score 19-17. And it wasn't even that long after, the following day, the Atlanta Falcons announced that they have fired Raheem Morris. I want to know what everybody thinks in the chat. So I'm going to let you guys get an opportunity to hear what I got to say here, and I want to see the answers in the chat here. Back-to-back seasons of 8-9 football. Back-to-back seasons of 8-9 football for the Atlanta Falcons. Would you have given Raheem Morris one more year after losing Michael Penix to a torn ACL this year? Would you give him one more year? Or do you think it was the right call to fire him? Let me know in the chat what you guys think here. For me, personally, I thought the hiring was a disaster from the start. Did I anticipate 8-9 seasons? No, I honestly expected 6-11 or 7-10. I didn't think he was qualified for the job, and especially when you look at what they were bringing in. When they brought in Kirk Cousins, and you had Bijan Robinson, and you have Drake London, and you have Kyle Pitts, and you have Darnell Mooney, and you have a good offensive line, you would think they would try to bring someone either that is smart on both sides of the ball or on the offensive side. Instead, they brought in a defensive-minded guy with a defense that has A.J. Terrell, and maybe somebody else could help me name a name here, but the only person that stands out to the Atlanta Falcons for me is A.J. Terrell. The offense, there were games where Kirk Cousins looked great with Raheem Morris, where he had, I think he had 400-something passing yards, maybe 500 against Tampa in the Thursday Night Football game. And then there's games where you're looking at the quarterback play, because Bijan's always going to be Bijan. Algier is a strong boy. Like that, him as a 2 is kind of insane. He might be a 1 at other teams. They just could never figure out a way to win games, and especially ones that they should have had in the bag. I mean, when you go back and if you watch a quarterback documentary on Netflix, I mean, with 2 or 3 games left and they still had the division lead, they sat Cousins. And I know that like he looked like shitty, but you're so that far deep into the season. Wouldn't you want to finish it out with the guy that you're paying over $45 million for? Personally, I would. And if he failed us that season, then you have a quarterback competition, and then you give it to Penix. But he made decisions that he did, and ultimately that probably is what led to his demise, as well as a general manager. Let's not forget, I mean, Zach and I were doing the live draft that year, and we did like the first 15 picks, and we both were like, yeah, we're probably not going to see people like Bo Nix get drafted or Penix. And when Penix got drafted, we were like, what the fuck is going on? All this money to Kirk Cousins to draft a quarterback to prepare for your future? Weren't you just trying to win a championship? Isn't that why you brought in Kirk Cousins? They were so discombobulated, man. They really were. The one thing that does stand out is how, on paper, Drake London is a great wide receiver. Bijan is a top 3, some might say top 1 running back in football. Top 3 for sure. Kyle Pitts, I mean, if you're a fantasy football owner, and if you start him that 1 week where you got you 40-plus fantasy points, that's what they've seen in him since they drafted. Will it be consistent going to next year? It's to be determined. Darnell Mooney is a speedster, wide receiver who can get open deep downfield. It's all about the right fit at the end of the day for the Atlanta Falcons. Let me talk about the Saints really quick. I just need a sip of my beer. Okay. I did not anticipate a 6-11 season for the Saints. Kellen Moore, if you're a Cowboys fan, if you're a Chargers fan, if you're an Eagles fan, you know what this guy can do on offense as an offensive coordinator. He is a pure genius. There was points during the season where Spencer Rattler never looked good, but he was like, man, he looks really good in the system that they're running. And until it fell apart and they elected to go with the rookie Tyler Show. With Alvin Kamara getting hurt, with Olave, Godspeed with his blood clots. Godspeed. Hopefully everything works out well with him. To only lose by 2 in that game is exceptionally well. And not to mention, too, they might have a legitimate threat in Juwan Johnson. That dude is a fucking baller in short order. That dude's got hands for days. At someone his size, he might be a steal for fantasy football next season if people really don't keep an eye on him. He had a great season this year. Ultimately, I didn't watch too many Saints games or see too many Saints highlights, but to go 6-11 into that season when everybody thought that like they were going to be one of the worst teams in the NFC, kudos to Kellen Moore. What a great first year for Kellen Moore, and maybe he's going to show that maybe this South could be open, and maybe it's for their taking next season. It's to be determined because the NFC South is open. Next game. Well,
No.
if my good pal Zach is still listening, a lot of Browns fans might have been saying that after their win on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. But folks, I don't even want to go through the highlights of the game. I want to talk about this right here. Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett was so adamant about, I want to get out of Cleveland. I'm done. I didn't get drafted to say that I want to be a Cleveland Brown. I got drafted to win a Super Bowl. This isn't the place that I'm going to do it. And the Browns, being the Browns, well, we'll give you $40 million per year. We're going to set the market new. I'm sure you probably wanted like 30 million, 32 million. We're going to give you 40. Who the fuck's going to turn down $40 million as a defensive end? And what does he do in the first year of that contract where it's $40 million AAV? He breaks the all-time sack record held by Michael Strahan. And if you heard Michael Strahan talking about it, the amount of petty, because like we know that Strahan could be a jokester. When he had to talk about it, you could tell he was just so petty, man. He was so upset. Well, it took him one more game than it took me to get that sack record. Well, some could argue that Brett Favre took a dive for you to get your sack record, you piece of shit. So get over yourself and congratulate the motherfucker, because what he did is, and not for nothing, neither, Michael, at your time, you could hit the quarterback at any angle and you're not going to get penalized. Where someone as big as Myles Garrett, if he lands his body weight, that's a 15-yard penalty. You didn't have to worry about that. It makes it even that more impressive that Myles Garrett accomplished that feat. Let me see if I can load the audio here. You guys are going to have to bear with me for a minute because I had to reload my site when it crashed out. So let's see if I can get it here. Aha! All right, folks. Michael Strahan reacting to Myles Garrett breaking the record.
I mean, I hold the record for 16-game season. They hold records for 17-game season. That's the way it works out.
Still claiming the title.
But, you can't compare records from 12-game seasons to 16 and 17-game seasons. It doesn't work. But I look at it like this. There's always generation that I love the fact this young man's amazing.
Don't be trying to suck his dick now, dude.
Absolutely amazing. And I know that he has so many more sacks left in him. 30 years old. I think I had just as many, if not more, sacks after 30, as did Bruce Smith, as did Reggie White. I think he's just getting going. He's just finding his stride. And you don't know how hard it is to do that on a team that isn't always in the lead, a team that isn't always competitive. I think that is the most amazing thing about it. He's done it on a team where he's the focus. He's a guy that gets doubled and tripled every time, and it's never stopped him from going out there and putting up numbers year after year.
The league, yeah.
Without playing with the league. I mean, this kid is amazing. And I really just want him to be on a team, which hopefully will be Cleveland because he signed a long-term deal there, that wins and gives him the opportunity to have the ultimate thing in this game of a team game with the Super Bowl.
Now, folks, I'm going back to what I said there. When Strahan played, you could fucking beat the shit out of the quarterback and the refs wouldn't give a damn. They tell the quarterback to get up. Where now you could gently poke him out of bounds, and then it's questions if it's rough if it's unnecessary roughness. Okay. Not to mention, too, did Myles Garrett have the one next game? Yes, he did. However, Strahan, I believe, had 200 more snaps played than Myles Garrett. And if you watch that game against the Steelers, how dirty they were on Myles Garrett to make sure that he couldn't get the sack record, ripping his helmet off at one point. Dude, just fucking take the L, dude. You don't got to be like, Dad, help me in the comments. Whose record did he beat? He played for the Jets. They did the documentary about him. You see him going up to Brett Favre. I want to get my sack back, man. And Brett, well, you might hurt me. Oh, you hurt me. You hurt me, Brett. What the fuck was that dude's name, Dad? Help me in the comments here. Overall, on a season where, yes, thank you, Ryan. Thank you. I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name. Mark Gassiou, I think it was something like that. Yeah. There's something they can at least smile about. We'll see what's going to happen with Cleveland next year. I'll get into the two coaches on both sides. To no surprise to me, the Bengals are going to stick with Zach Taylor. And the reason I say no surprise is, folks, how many years did we say that they needed to move on from Marvin Lewis and they just wouldn't do it? Marvin Lewis should have been fired like 16 times out of the 20 plus years that he coached for the Bengals. Okay. Zach Taylor ain't going anywhere anytime soon. But the problem with that is how pissed off could Joe Burrow potentially be and say, you know, he might pull the Andrew Luck. I'm retiring. If they can't trade for him, I'm retiring. I think Joe Burrow is going to be the biggest name that we're going to look at this offseason. Somebody should give the absolute haul. We might see someone give up 4 to 5 first-round picks for Joe Burrow. And I know the most important thing in football is availability, which has been a problem with him. But God damn it, dude, it is Joe fucking Burrow. Let's see what's going to happen this offseason. It's going to be interesting as fuck. On the Cleveland side, Kevin Stefanski was fired. And this comes to no surprise. There seemed to be some sort of turmoil between him and Shedeur Sanders where they just didn't necessarily click. And it makes you wonder when you got all the way to the 5th round, they already had Dylan Gabriel picked, I think, at the 3rd or 4th, and then you see Shedeur gets picked. Was that a Stefanski pick? Was it a GM pick? Was it an ownership pick? Who knows? But you could just see that there was tension between the two. I forget which game it was where they had to go for the 2-point play to tie, and they had Shedeur on the sidelines, and they tried doing a wildcat with Judkins, and clearly it didn't work off at all. And Shedeur actually took the high road in the media, which is rare. It just didn't work. And Stefanski will get a job somewhere quick. Stefanski, I think, is a very, very good coach. The fact that he led one of those Browns teams to an 11-6 or 12-5 record, whatever it was, with Joe Flacco at quarterback, I mean, he deserves an opportunity somewhere else. And I'm sure he will get it, and it's just a matter of when it will happen. Patience, folk. Well, Meatloaf, you know I love you, but... Go, Pat, go! Now, I know they sat everybody, but Ryan, 9-7-1 is not the way you want to end the season. I know Parsons tore his ACL. He's out for the year, but I am starting to have some serious questions about Jordan Love. Is Jordan Love actually as good as we thought he could be? Is he just like sporadic where like he could be like a top 5, top 10 quarterback of football, and then he's like, just breaking inside the top 20? Like, what version of Jordan Love are we getting? I don't know. Now, I know that he didn't play this game. They lost 16-3, but 9-7-1. Not okay, man. Not okay. Kudos to the Vikings on actually finishing 9-8 this year. I didn't realize that they were 8-8 heading into week 18. No idea. That one surprised me. But they missed the playoffs, and it just goes to show how good of a coach Kevin O'Connell is. I mean, I think at one point they were 3-6 or 3-7. So to finish 9-8, it's a good end to the season, but they got to figure out what's going on with McCarthy here, man, if it's going to work. You guys know where my stance was back before the season started. They should have kept Sam Darnold. I think it shows why over there in Seattle, why they should have kept Sam Darnold. Well, next one.
All hail the New York Giants!
Folks, if you remember when Zach and I were making our picks before the season started, I said the Giants would win week 18 against the Cowboys and fuck up their draft stock. And boy, did they ever. They had the number 1 pick 2 weeks ago, and now they're down to either number 5 or number 6, whatever it was. That is just, if you're a Giants fan, that is like just kicking you in the dick. That sucks. That will give you nightmares at night. That is not okay. And for the Cowboys, I mean, they're right at where I thought they were going to be. The Cowboys offense was electric. Dak was great this year. CeeDee Lamb, when he got hurt, George Pickens stepped up. Jake Ferguson stepped up. Javonte Williams was the running back that they've been waiting for post-Zeke. They were great this year. The problem was the defense couldn't stop the flu if they had Lysol in both their hands and fucking spitting out hand sanitizer. They wouldn't be able to stop the fucking flu from getting contracted, spraying Lysol cans infinitively, spitting out hand sanitizer. Their defense sucked. Absolutely fucking terrible. Now, I disagree with you here, Dad. This was not a Matt Eberflus problem. I think Eberflus actually did good with what he had. The offense was great this year. And we know that he's more offensive minded than he is defensively. The defense was a problem, and that is Jerry Jones' fault. That's not Eberflus's fault. It's not his fault at all. You went out and you got Jadeveon Clowney. You were that fucking desperate. You didn't have a name on the D-line outside of Kenny Clark from the trade, and Kenny Clark is good for stopping the run. He's too fat and slow to get to the quarterback. And then you trade for Quentin Williams, which was a good trade. Guys move on from Trayvon Diggs pretty quick, huh? I'm trying to say for the longest time he was an overrated. Both him and Deron Bland are both overrated. They are not as good as Cowboy fans want to make them out to be because they can get all these pick six and interceptions. Because if they're not getting the pick six or the interception, they're giving up the big play. Cowboys draft next year needs to be defense. However many picks they have, they need to do what the Angels did like 2 years ago, like where the Angels addressed pitching, where like every pick of every round was pitching. That's what the Cowboys need to do. You have Javonte Williams. I think you're going to franchise tag George Pickens. You're going to have CeeDee Lamb. You're going to have Dak. You're going to have Ferguson. You're going to have a great offensive line. Defense, and don't even fucking look at anybody offensively. Don't do it. But it's Jerry Jones, and he's probably going to fuck it all up like he always does. Oh, how about them Cowboys? Oh, I love it. I fucking love it. Oh, and I also, it's a double win for me, folks. It's a double win. The Cowboys go 7-9. They go below 500. And the Giants, they win games when they shouldn't have to. Miguel, I'm sorry. You're a normal fan. You're not one of those slimy, annoying Giants fans that like people like listen to, and it's like fucking like nails on a chalkboard. Like some of the Giants fans that are the most delusional, dumbest, what did Diva want me to say? Slow people. We're not going to use that R word that Zach used to love to use. Slow people on this planet, on this entire planet. I'm going to skip this next one because it was an ass whooping to be expected. The Jaguars defeat the Tennessee Titans 41-7. I will make a quick comment about the Jaguars, though. No one anticipated 13-4. Wow. Liam Cohen actually did better than I think anybody expected. 13-4 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nobody had in their card. When you looked at the South before the season began, you were like, Texans or Colts. Let's call it a day. Oh, no. Jacksonville came to play this year, and they could be a little bit of a threat in the playoffs. We will see when that time comes. All right, next game. This one was close. And Colts fans, some of them are probably thinking, why didn't we go with this guy instead of bringing up 45-year-old grandfather Phillip Rivers? You guys ever listen to the Phillip Rivers' cadence, dude? Like, there's two quarterbacks' cadences that are like absolutely hilarious for me to listen to. And no, it's not Dak with the, here we go. I like his. It's not Aaron Rodgers with his green 19. It's Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning. Phillip Rivers, you got green 80, green hut. Like, just his tone. It's hilarious. And then you have Eli Manning who looks like a freaking dork and is 117, one set. Like, oh my God. Phillip Rivers. That's who they try to have say this. However, like Phillip Rivers at his age, did he really look like that bad, folks? He didn't look that bad. He didn't look great, obviously. Like, he didn't look like the Phillip Rivers that we all know. Like, we could tell he wasn't able to throw the deep ball, but he kept the Colts in these games. But to see Riley Leonard do what he did, 21-34 for 270 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, with Alec Pierce getting 4 of them for 132, and both of his passing touchdowns were caught by Alex Pierce. I mean, the Colts have a bit of a dilemma going into next season with Daniel Jones with the torn Achilles, who was absolutely balling. I got to give that dude mad respect. I have to. No one, like, outside of, like, delusional Giants fans, anybody see that out of Daniel Jones to the point where they were fucking 8-1? No. You'd be fucking lying to yourself if you said you saw that coming. Multiple Colts fans were pissed because they were like, what are we doing? What are we doing with Anthony Richardson? Well, Daniel Jones is still young, and he showed you that, where Anthony Richardson has yet to show you anything close to that. And Anthony Richardson couldn't play at all this year, which was his problem in college, was continuing to the NFL. So they are in a really tricky spot here because Daniel Jones might be the best chance. We'll see. Tyler Warren looked great this year. Jonathan Taylor was a fucking beast for fantasy football. And for the Texans side here, at one point, we're all ready to count them out. CJ Stroud, to me, still doesn't look as good as he did his rookie year. The main reason, the primary reason why the Texans finished the way they did was because of Davis Mills. When CJ Stroud was out for those 3 games of concussion, they went 3-0 under Davis Mills. For your backup quarterback to step up in that situation, who has prior experience because he played before they brought in CJ Stroud, that is so ginormous for that franchise. And if they make a legitimate run, that's what we should be looking back on, is Davis Mills. Bills and the Jets. Well, the Jets have, I think it was the first time, maybe ever, and I could be wrong on that. Well, I'll tell you what, it's the first time in NFL history since they changed the schedule to 17 games that a team has defense had 0 interceptions. A defensive-minded coach comes in and their defense still looked like a bag of dicks. I don't know what to tell you guys. Robert Saleh was never the problem. And now the Jets are going to be back to square one. Yeah, they got all this draft capital, but it's like, what are they going to do with it? We don't know. We don't know. It's the Jets. They find a way to screw everything up, and it's their own goddamn fault. As it pertains to the Bills, they played their last ever game at their stadium, as their new stadium will be opening up next season. Let me see if I can get the video here, because I just want to make some unnecessary comments, I guess. You know what? They did a little tribute video. Why don't we sit here for 1 minute and 12 seconds of this bullshit? See if I get the right thing here.
For me, that's home.
You say goodbye to a place like that, home. Man, it's hard.
And every time I step in it, there's memories.
What love is here, what Ralph brought here.
It's true Western New York.
What a comeback by the Bills!
That's why Marv came up with the saying, where else would you rather be?
Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
Perhaps some of the most fun I've ever had in my life.
To go out there and not have a punt, score on every possession.
That was one of the loudest times I remember ever being in the stadium.
Every inch of this place has got a story for us.
This is storybook!
Absolute chills.
I think it's special to be here and enjoy these last few moments that we all have together in here.
It happened in that stadium.
It is pandemonium!
Folks, call me petty, I guess. What's so special about his stadium if you'd never won a fucking championship? Am I that naive? Like, someone in the comments let me know if I'm just like that naive, if I'm that petty. Does it matter? You never won a fucking Super Bowl. You lost 4 straight years. Who gives a shit? Farewell season. Oh my God. Where place would you rather be? Anywhere but Buffalo because you can't win a championship there. Who gives a flying fuck? Are you kidding me? You had people like Tre'Davious White crying in the silence like, dude, you're going across the street. Maybe they might win a Super Bowl at that stadium than this one. What's so historic about it? Someone tell me? Someone let me know? There ain't nothing historic about that. Like, I remember when Trevor came on, because, Trevor always pops on here and there. He goes, you got to make sure that this year you go up there before they close the stadium. I'm just like, for fucking what? You ever look at Highmark Stadium as one of the most prestigious stadiums in NFL or NFL history? No. No one gives a shit. I hate the Cowboys, but I wish I went to the old Cowboys stadium before I went to this piece of shit. I hate the Jets and the Giants. I'd rather have gone there than this piece of shit stadium. Who cares? Give me a fucking break. Blow it out your ass. No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck about Highmark Stadium. See you later. Speaking of not giving a fuck, that's normally Dan Campbell when it comes to 4th downs. But it bit him in the ass this year. Although they won Week 18 on the road in Chicago and they finished the season 9-8, and the Bears win the North. Who the fuck saw that coming? Probably the biggest failing season by the team this year in the NFL. And I know that we have the Chiefs. I know we have the Bengals. I know we have the Ravens. But folks, this team came off 15 wins last year. And the only reason we acknowledged it, the only reason they legitimately lost last year in the playoffs, their whole defense was dismantled to shreds. They were ripped apart by injuries. And Jaden Daniels was on a whole different level last year as a rookie. And he tore that defense apart. And if they faced the Eagles last year, they would have tore them apart too. They go into this season, for the most part, healthy. They did lose Brian Branch, and they did have some injuries on defense and the offensive line. But, bro, let me go through the schedule so I can see their final scores this year, man. There is no reason the Lions should not have made the playoffs this year. It is so disappointing because I think Zach had them winning the Super Bowl this year. It was so disappointing for them to not make the playoffs this year. Dude, fucking week 2, they beat Chicago 52-21. I think people might forget about that because where they are now, 52-21. They beat Baltimore 38-30. They beat Cleveland 34-10. They beat Cincinnati 37-24. They lose to Kansas City 30-17. They win against Tampa 24-9. And then after the week 8 bye, where they went into the week at a 5-2 clip, they lose off the bye to Minnesota 27-24. They beat the piss out of Washington 44-22. They lose to the Eagles. They survive against the Giants in overtime. They lose to the Packers. They beat the Cowboys. They go on a 3-game losing streak where they lose to the Rams, the Steelers, and the Vikings, who knocked them out. And then they finish the season 9-8. They gave up 41 points against the Rams. They lost 41-34. When they lost against the Packers, they lost 31-24. When they lost against Pittsburgh, they lost 29-24. When they lost against Minnesota, they lost 27-24. When they lost against Kansas City, 30-17. Got to be one of the worst defenses in the NFL this year. That's what cost the Lions. And it's a goddamn shame. It's a damn shame. We'll see what happens next year for the Lions, but what a fucking catastrophic failure of a season. Good for Ben Johnson doing what he did with Chicago. And what a way to answer his presser when the media was trying to press him about getting Caleb Williams 4,000 yards. Basically said, what's more important to you, 4,000 passing yards or this guy heading into the playoffs? Caleb Williams has done great this year for the Bears. Fuck the 4,000 passing yards. Chargers and the Broncos. If it proved anything furthermore, folks, in case anybody was still wondering, Trey Lance is a bag of dicks. Why that guy was ever the number 3 pick at a Division II college. Yes, I get that we saw North Dakota State with Carson Wentz look good before torn ACL, but dude, it's fucking Division II football. It's just like, what a terrible decision by the Niners back then. And it goes to show they only put up 3 points to the Broncos 19. My hot take, folks, is that the Broncos are not this good. They are not 14-3 good. They really aren't. Now, home field advantage is going to be great for them because they finished the season 8-1 at home. But if they go up against a Buffalo, if they go up against a Patriots, if they go up against a Jaguars, I think those three teams are better than the Broncos, realistically. I think they're severely overrated. Raiders win their last game of the season. They will have the number 1 pick next year as they beat the Chiefs 14-12. Probably saw the last of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. As it pertains to Travis Kelce, a lot of hate goes Travis Kelce's way. We see him amped up on the sidelines a lot, getting, making contact with Coach Reed. And then Taylor Swift just adds on more to it. But folks, we're going to miss him when he's gone. Travis Kelce is one of the greatest receiving tight ends. And he's one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history. Don't get me wrong. When you think of the top 3 tight ends in NFL history, you're probably thinking of him, Gronk, and Tony Gonzalez. Okay. I'm biased, but a lot of people are on my side that Gronk's a better tight end than Kelce, but Kelce was definitely, for sure, a better receiving tight end than all 3 of them. And it's not by like a wide margin either when I put it like that. But the one thing that he had better than Gronk and Tony Gonzalez was speed and agility. But he was nowhere near as powerful as both of them. So if it was the last time we saw Travis Kelce, what an honor, what a career, and enjoy the rest of your life. And I hope that it works out for you and Taylor Swift. Just be careful, buddy. Be careful. Rams beat the shit out of the Cardinals 37-20. Oh, I forgot to mention, so I guess I'm just going to combine it here all together. Pete Carroll's fired by the Raiders. Jonathan Gannon was fired by the Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon never got the best. Pete Carroll had 1 year. I'm not even going to waste my time on Pete Carroll. The only thing I'll say for Pete Carroll was it sucked that he didn't have Brock Bowers and that he lost Jacoby Myers. We saw how great Jacoby Myers is with Jacksonville. For Jonathan Gannon's sake, Kyler Murray is still a starting quarterback in football, folks. Like, if he went to the Jets, you'd be like, yeah, he's starting. If he went to the Vikings, you'd be like, it'd be a competition. He might edge out, over J.J. McCarthy. If he went to the Raiders, he'd be the starting quarterback. Like, Kyle Murray still has something in him. Gannon never used him correctly. Gannon, overall, as a coach, was never the right coach to move on from Cliff Kingsbury. Never at one point. Then again, the Cardinals always get shit wrong, and maybe they'll have that one magical year like they have with Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald when I'm on my deathbed. Who knows? For the Rams, if you had told me that Matthew Stafford was going to play an MVP level when he set out most of the season, preseason, rehabilitating his back, I would tell you out of your goddamn mind. Matthew Stafford did this year was absolutely incredible, dude. It was incredible. He will fall short of the MVP to Drake May. No bias here, because the last couple of weeks the Rams have fallen off. They have not looked as dominant as they did. And the other argument I will always have is he has Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, and Devontae fucking Adams compared to what Drake May has. Yeah, Drake May might have the better running backs now with Travion and Ramondre, but Diggs isn't better than most of those receivers. And then the number 2 option for the Patriots, pick and choose who it's going to be. Is it Pop Douglas? Is it Keyshawn Boutte? Is it Matt Collins? Like, don't even get me started on that. But the Rams got to figure it out, because if you had asked me in the beginning of December who the Super Bowl favorite is, I wouldn't even hesitate to tell you the Rams. But since Devontae had that hamstring injury, they've been looking kind of shaky, number 1. And number 2, when he does come back, like, how healthy is that hamstring going to be? That's going to be the biggest question heading into this playoffs here. Patriots destroy the Dolphins 38-10. The Dolphins are going to elect to keep Mike McDaniel. And after a terrible start to the season to where the Dolphins are now, I actually agree with them. Mike McDaniel is not the problem. It was Tua. And it's been Tua. And it has been Tua. I don't know if Quinn Ewers is going to necessarily be the answer, but I think the Dolphins should really be in the market for quarterback. And I'm not talking draft. I'm talking whoever's best available, go get him. If Lamar, if the rumors are true that they had a chance to get fucking Lamar Jackson, dude, if they had the chance to get Lamar Jackson and they didn't want to give up Tua, they are fucking slow adults. They are slow adults. Absolutely stupid. No, not logical whatsoever. Whoa. Oh, Young are working together for a trade. Thought I saw that. I was like, whoa, that is not the case. When Tyreek Hill unfortunately suffered that leg injury, they started using Achane a lot more, and the offense started to click. So Miami, like, they're a quarterback away. They are just a quarterback away from being a wild card type team in the AFC. So we'll see what they end up doing. Commanders and Eagles. Commanders win the game 24-17. Philly sat their starters. Washington's been devastated by injuries all year long. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They got just the bad injury bug. It is what it is. Well, this was the game of the weekend. The Steelers and the Ravens. And if you fell asleep like I did, you feel like a sorry son of a bitch, because I feel like a sorry son of a bitch. It came down to the final moments of the game where rookie kicker Tyler Loop, with everything on the line, just missed a 44-yard field goal. And you got to feel for the kid. And in case you haven't seen the kick because you're living under a rock, I have video for you to see the kick.
Snap good. Hold it. The kick is no good. It is wide right. And the Steelers are the champions of the North.
Can we just listen to Mike Tirico's call one more time, please?
Snap good. Hold it. The kick is no good. It is wide right. And the Steelers are the champions of the North.
God, Mike Tirico is so good at his goddamn job, man. To see that kid burst into tears, that sucks. That sucks, because Tyler Loop has been great for them all year round. The Ravens lost this year because of John Harbaugh. One game that really stood out to me, the reason why the Ravens lost, the division. Patriots ended up beating the Ravens, but on their last offensive drive, before they had seconds left to try to win the game with Tyler Huntley, they did not go with Derrick Henry out there on the football field when Lamar Jackson was hurt. Derrick Henry was not on the field, dude. I believe that they had Keaton Mitchell. And I could be wrong. It could have been a different running back out on the field, because I'm going through the box score here, and I'm like, that one might make sense. That is absolutely terrible coaching. The defense this year for the Ravens was dreadful. Lamar Jackson this year was not anything close that we know to see Lamar Jackson as the quarterback. Yeah, he had the hamstring injuries. I get that. But Lamar wasn't nearly as good as we've seen him in years past. Might be time for a coaching change over there in Baltimore. I guess time will tell. Time will tell. And that's it for Week 18, folks. So let me look at the playoff picture here, and I'm going to give my predictions because I'm not doing a Thursday show. It's going to be Mondays only, and then once my softball league starts up on Mondays, it'll be back to Tuesdays. So we got a couple months of me on Monday. So in the wild card round, here we go here. Saturday, we are going to Carolina, where they're going to be hosting the Rams. The last time both teams played there, the Panthers absolutely dominated the Los Angeles Rams. Will it happen a second time? Can Magic strike again? Will Carolina defeat the Los Angeles Rams again? My answer to you is no. However, I'm looking at the spread here of 10.5. I would take Carolina plus 10.5 all day if you were into gambling. If not, stay away. Rams will end up winning this game. This one, what a great Saturday night game. Saturday night, we have the battle of the NFC North. The last time the two faced off in a playoff game in Chicago, the Packers and the Bears, Jay Cutler and Aaron Rodgers. That's the last time that happened. And we all know how that turned out. So, will Magic strike again? Will the Packers take down Chicago and end their season and own the Chicago Bears like they've done for years and years and years and years since I've been alive? The winner of this game will be Go Pack Go! Experience plays a factor here, folks. There is little to no experience for the Chicago Bears. Ben Johnson as the head coach. Yeah, he's had experience as the offensive coordinator. It's a different game when you're the head coach. Caleb Williams, second year. Don't know, buddy. Don't know. Romo Dunze, I don't know what the severity is with his health, if he's suiting up or not, but even if he is going to suit up, how banged up is he? Because that's a big piece that they're missing out on. And you go over to Green Bay side, you have experience with Matt LaFleur. Jordan Love has, I think, 1 or 2 years under his belt in the playoffs, as well as Christian Watson. Josh Jacobs, I think, has a year under his belt. No, he actually has no years under his belt. But I'm going to go with the team that's had the better record in the 21st century in the playoffs and the best experience. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers, taking down the Chicago Bears. All right. Sunday, we're leading off with Jacksonville hosting the Bills. The spread of that game, folks, Buffalo is favored by 1.5 on the road, and Bills Mafia is going to be traveling well. I will hammer every freaking dollar from your upcoming paycheck on the Buffalo Bills -1.5 against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a great team this year, but if you're asking me if I'm going Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence, I'm going Josh Allen every day of the week. That ends in Y. And not for nothing, too. There better be a chip on Josh Allen on his shoulder. This is your chance. This is the best chance that you have to win the Super Bowl. There's no Mahomes in this playoffs. There's no Joe Burrow. There's no Lamar Jackson standing your way. This is your best chance. You have to make this game a statement game. This will be on Josh Allen. And he'll take care of business, unfortunately. Next one, folks. I am so up in the air of this game. This is a tough one. 4:30, we have the Eagles hosting the Niners. This is not as easy as you would think. When you look at the Eagles this year, folks, they almost seem like they're pretenders more than they are contenders. Nick Sirianni is living up to the Eagles are only as good as the coordinators that they have. Folks, so many injuries on the Niners side. No Fred Warner. Potentially, he might suit up, they say. No Fred Warner. No Nick Bosa. I almost want to come back on this one, but I know I got to make a decision. Eagles, Niners. I'm going to go with the Eagles. The Super Bowl champs, I don't think are going to get knocked out in the first round. I'm going to go with the Eagles. Wow. This next one puts a smile on my face, folks. Smile on my face. 6-3 at home this year, 8-0 on the road. Wow. That's amazing. New England Patriots will be hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers wanted the New England Patriots, hence why they sat everybody. The rumor is that they wanted the Patriots. Well, you wanted them, you got them, motherfucker. And you done fucked up. Your offensive line is depleted. Justin Herbert is playing with a broken hand. Ladd McConkey has not looked good. Your defense hasn't been anything spectacular. And everything is clicking right with the Patriots going into the playoffs, where they have a great dynamic running duo with Ramondre Stevenson, TreVeyon Henderson. Diggs finishes with over 1,000 receiving yards. Hunter Henry had a great year. Drake May is the MVP. Or I'm sorry, I said his name wrong. Drake May. He's going to be the MVP. You know where the fuck I'm going with. Let's go. Patriots. Patriots all the way. Monday Night Football. Over under this game is 39.5. By the way, the Patriots are 3.5-point favorites against the Chargers, and the Eagles are 4.5 against the Niners. Steelers, Texans. Texans are favored on the road at 3.5. I would take the Steelers plus 3.5. But in terms of winning this game, did you see how much DK Metcalf matters to the Steelers team? These last two games, not having him out there because he was dumb enough to punch a fan in the stands just for saying his name. I know DK Metcalf was accusing him of saying something racist, but we'll never know until there's audio surface potentially. We don't know. What I do know is 3.5 points in favor of the Texans is the wrong decision. I think the Steelers end up winning this game at home and advancing another round. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's Mike Tomlin. I think they're going to beat the best. They're going to get the best out of the Texans' subpar defense. Oh my God. Great defense. And with that does it for the NFL. Holy shit. When's the last time I've done a show over an hour by myself? I couldn't tell you, but we're almost done here. While I know I got Dad here, he could definitely help me out here. So, Dad, why don't you load up your keyboard here to help me out here? Folks, is this the end? Are we nearing the end of the LIV Golf Tour? Brooks Koepka has announced his departure from LIV Golf. At 35 years old, he's stepping away from LIV. Now, the rumor is that he wants to spend more time at home, but you're starting to see the LIV golfers aren't as interested as they once were. I've tried watching LIV Golf on multiple occasions. I hate the team golf type shit, dude. I think it's absolutely stupid. That's like trying to team up in tennis with matches. Like it's an individual sport. If you want to do like a charity type shit where it's like everybody teams up for like once or twice a year, okay, I can get behind that. But it's like the teams in golf, it's just so bland and stupid, and the promotion isn't as good as it should be when you have all these big names on that tour. Jon Rahm, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson. I know that he's not the best anymore as good as he used to be, but Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, etc. But like, no one gives a fuck. No one cares. The only time you care is when you hear those names, when you got the Masters, when you have the Opens, and when you have the PGA Championship. Other than that, no one cares. Point blank simple. And I think he's going to be starting a trend here. I think we're going to see DeChambeau come back at some point. I don't know if we'll see Phil or Dustin Johnson ever come back because they're both towards the end of their careers, especially Phil. But I think it was a great decision by Brooks to finally leave that atrocity of a golf program. They tried. Like I gave the benefit of the doubt. I'm not like my dad, and my dad, of course, has to be biased with his career with the PGA. But it never really caught my eye, the LIV Tour. So if this is the start of the demise of the LIV Tour, they have no one to blame but themselves. All right, I'm going to get some baseball finally here. So we're here in January. We still have a lot of free agent names to go through, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through both New York teams, and I'm going to start over in Queens. I don't think anybody anticipated the Mets going off on a fire sale like they did. The New York Mets are moving on from their core that they've had since like 2019, I think. They're moving on from Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso, who they lost at free agency, and they trade away Brandon Nimmo and Jeff McNeil. They're moving on from them. I can't tell you how shocked I was to see them move on from Pete Alonso without even making it. If it's one thing if they made an offer and Pete Alonso's like, I'm out here. They basically said, sorry, dude, we have no interest. See you later. How disrespectful is that? That is just absolutely mind-boggling to me that they didn't even offer a penny. With the richest owner in sports, they didn't offer a goddamn penny. What the hell is wrong with them, dude? What the hell is wrong with them? Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think Steve Cohen is making a mistake here because you know damn well the reason why Juan Soto is a New York Met. Juan Soto is a New York Met because Steve Cohen stepped in and basically said, he's not going back there. He will be mine. And he got his wish. I can't believe that Steve Cohen allowed Pete Alonso to walk, to just go. It makes absolutely no sense to let that guy go. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. I don't know what their season has in store because their pitching still stinks. Couldn't believe it. And every Met fan that I talk to is like very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. Hold on a second. There's no fucking way this is true. 1 second, please. Oh. Well, I didn't know that this guy was a free agent. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through all the free agents, at least the ones that are available. So the top names that pop it up here, we have Alex Bregman, which he's in talks with Boston. He's probably ended up going back to Boston. Cody Bellinger, it's unknown where he's going to go. It seems like it's going to be either New York teams or the Dodgers. JT Realmuto is a current free agent. Didn't know that. That one is shocking to me. Chris Bassett, he's probably not going to go back to Toronto once they brought in Dylan Cease. Framber Valdez, I think Framber Valdez might hurt his stock a lot when in that game against the Yankees where the catcher told him to step off. He didn't step off. He gave up a grand slam, and then there was miscommunication. It was clear that Valdez initiated, and the catcher got hit, and he had to basically hold himself in check because he's lucky to be in the big leagues, which was fucked up of him. We have Kyle Tucker, who's still out there. Bo Bichette is out there. Is Luis Arraez a free agent? Holy shit, there's so many names in free agency that I didn't know. Luis Arraez, wow. Fact of the matter is, I knew this was going to happen this offseason where Eugenio Suarez is still a free agent. I knew this was going to be a problem this year because you have the lockout that's definitely bound to happen with the owners trying to go to a salary cap and the players want no part of it, and I'm on the player side in that. And when we get closer to that date, I will break that all down. I don't know if it's going to take till February, but with the World Baseball Classic approaching as well, you would figure that these guys would try to get these negotiations done as quickly as possible. But the problem is, and most of these guys I think are represented by Scott Boras, that will be your problem because that guy is just the biggest cocksucker of an agent out there. So we'll see what happens when that time comes. But still, there's no big momentum in any signings happening soon. Maybe we get a signing this week, but I doubt it. I think we're going to get our signings, if not in the middle of next week, 2 weeks from now, we will probably get all these signings. As it pertains to my New York Yankees, am I worried that they haven't really made any big moves? They moved. Devin Williams is gone. Luke Weaver is gone, both to the Mets. Shocker. Am I worried? And the answer is quite simply, no, I'm not worried. And I'm also realistic to know that the Yankees are not the best team in the American League. And I'm also realistic to see that they might be the fourth best team in the AL East. I mean, the Red Sox, Roman Anthony's going to come back healthy. They brought in Sonny Gray, who's been great ever since he left the Yankees. They brought in Wilson Contreras to play Pepper with that green monster. They're probably going to bring back Bregman. Marcelo Meyer will be healthy. If Travis Story could do what he did, that's another valuable asset. Jaron Duran, Cedane Rafaela. Red Sox have a good team. We all know what Toronto has. Whether they have Bo Bichette back or not, they made it to the World Series for a reason. And then they bring in a pitcher like Dylan Cease. Do I think he's worth $30 or $31 million a year? No, I don't. But he's still a damn good pitcher. And Baltimore, they made that big trade with Tampa. They brought in Pete Alonso. They have that true power hitter. Yeah, they're legit. And the Yankees, what have they done? Ahmed Rosario, Paul DeJong. What are we in fucking 2018, 2019? I'm also not angry, though, because I know how Hal likes to play the whole salary cap thing. They tried it for 2 years. They tried when they got Soto, and they tried last year, spending all this money to win championship. It didn't work, and it hasn't worked. They're going to bank on Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon coming back healthy to go along with Fried and Schlittler and Clark Schmidt and Luis Heel. That's what they're banking on. And we'll see how it pays out. Can Jazz be that real number two? I mean, to me, and I guess, I'm a Jazz fan. I mean, Yankee fans are like annoyed with him on social media, marrying an OnlyFans star, getting engaged in an OnlyFans star. To me, who gives a fuck? But the same way, I can understand why they're feeling that way. Everybody hates Anthony Volpe. No one believes in Ryan McMahon. People are skeptical about Jason Dominguez because he's having a terrible winter ball over there in the DR. They hate Trent Grisham's contract. I do too. It's not looking good going into the season for the New York Yankees. It's looking like 4th place, and it's highly possible. It is definitely highly possible. All right. I'm going to try. Keyword here is try. This is where Zach was, the king of this shit. I was the king of baseball. He was the king of hockey. I play the Leafs goal horn, but the Leafs absolutely suck big cock this year. The Leafs are in last place in terms of the Atlantic Division. They're in a tie with Ottawa right now. The Leafs are 19 and 15 with 7 overtime losses. They have 45 points. The defense and the fucking goaltending is atrocious. It doesn't matter if they're going with Joseph Wall or whatever the hell their backup name is. They're better at home. Obviously, they're 14-5-5 at home. They're 5-10-2 on the road. They are not a good road team this year. We were waiting to see what this team was going to look like post Mitch Marner, and it's not looking good. Not looking good in any way, shape, or form imaginable. And if you ask me if I do it over again, absolutely 10 times out of 10. I do it 10 times out of 10. They're going to have to make some moves before the trade deadline. They're going to have to figure out something to get this team revitalized because it is inexcusable for them to be playing worse than the Sabres. No reason for that whatsoever. So while I'm not very knowledgeable about hockey, while I'm still learning from Zach amongst other Canadians, amongst other friends that like hockey, what I do know is this. When you're 41 games played through the season and you're 31-3-7 and you have 17 wins, 0 losses, 2 losses in overtime regulation at home, that cannot go unnoticed. The Colorado Avalanche are probably going to win the President's Cup or President's Trophy, wherever you call it. Is this team good enough to flip this curse that's been going on for years? Well, it all depends on the return of Gabriel Landeskog, who ended up leaving the ice yesterday with a lower body injury, and they're saying that he's definitely going to miss some time. We'll see when they can get him back. I think that's going to be the big X factor. They got a great team with Kyle McCarr, Nathan McKinnon, amongst others. 31-3 out of this team. I don't think everybody expected them to be, one of the best teams in hockey. I think anybody expected them 41 games through the season to have basically 10 losses combined. That's fucking insane between the overtime and regular regulation losses. Good for them. Time will tell. Time will indeed tell. All right. Well, I did the best I could with hockey there. I hope that for you hockey listeners that are listening, you're probably like, not too bad. It was pretty shitty. First show back, over an hour. Did not expect this, but I'll tell you what, man, it felt good. And to see all the love that I had early on in the show, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're listening on the podcast, shout out to Buns. I know Buns was very upset when the show stopped. Shout out to Buns. We're going to keep rolling with this thing, man. Next week, I'll become a little more prepared. I was caught up in some shit, New Year's, Christmas, all that, amongst some other things that happened, personal shit that I can't really talk about. It was good to be back, and I had a lot of fun, and I appreciate Dad and Ryan for their donations. I appreciate the files from Ant and Ty and Dylan. Let's get this thing rolling, man, and I'm going to try to put in the work. Hopefully make everybody happy. Maybe we get some special guests on this show at some point. Like I'm talking like writers or athletes. We'll see. The work's going to be put in. The work's going to be put in because this is what I want. This is what I want. I appreciate every single one of you for the motivation to get me back into this. And I appreciate everybody for listening. And with that being said, I'm going to end it the way that Zach would end it. Maybe just without the echo. But ladies and gentlemen, that does it for this episode of the Sports Cave. We'll see you motherfuckers next Monday. Stay sexy. Sports Cave.